Hello, good afternoon, gorgeous flower pots. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching me from. How are we? Give me a like, give me a love, and give me a share. Let me know where you're watching me from. Let me know if you are in the Rosendale Valley, like myself, in Haslingden, and you've woken up to 10 foot of snow. Wow, I got up this morning for work at 4 o'clock, went for a wee, and it was a little bit bright outside, and I thought it's a bit bright outside. I had to look through the window. Wow, we were absolutely covered in snow. And if you follow me on Instagram, Aunty Uncensored, you'll see my little videos I've been doing. So Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I find it absolutely hilarious that we can actually meet outside as of tomorrow for a drink with friends. Slush puppies all round. They're all on me. So there we go. So hello Bronwyn Harrison in that there Australia. How are we all? Are you all watching? Can you see me? I tried to do the little hack that you sent me about me being able to see the comments and I still can't. So my absolute apologies. But I do sit down later and look at the comments then. So I know I can see that people are watching, but I can't see any comments. No idea why. I will have clicked something, I'll have done something, but not sure what. Hello Cindy Forden, hello Jodie Lindsay, hello Cressida Jordan. I was on Instagram a little bit earlier and I did a little bit bringing flower pots on and having a little chat. And when I finish the Sunday service today, I'm going to jump back onto Instagram and carry on with that. So should you want to talk to me on Instagram, jump on, be in a video with me, be on a live, then please do. So once again, it's Sunday. I'm here to service you. Don't know what the messages are going to be until we open up the little black phone. And any advice that I do give on your dear Aunty Nelly's is purely for entertainment purposes. And can I just say, if anybody comments with gift, competition, giveaway, it's a scam. Don't fall for it, okay? So just get them reported. Because I'm not doing any prizes, any gifts, any giveaways and any competitions today. And if I ever do, then I'd come on and tell you. Hello from Beirut, also known as Stoke-on-Trent. Oh, okay. Heidi Marvel, good afternoon, sweetheart. And hello in sunny Norwich, Barbara. Marie Stewart is watching. I think we've got more than enough to get going with today's Sunday service, haven't we? Can I just say that I had a fabulous Easter Sunday last week. That's why I wasn't here. I drove down to that there London and met my daughter in Hackney Down Park and we shared an Easter Sunday picnic and it was absolutely delightful. It was the best thing in the world to see my baby after 12 months and see Hartley blue. When I saw Hartley and he recognised it was me, he started vibrating and shaking and couldn't leave me alone. And it was the most wonderful day. So we drove down, spent the day in the park and then came home and it was absolutely magnificent. It was exactly what we all needed. So there we go. So yeah, good afternoon flower pots, good morning and good evening, wherever you may be watching me from, because I can see that there's people watching from all around the world. So shall we get going? I think we should. I think I've, Sarah Jane Bonnet, happy birthday. So I can see some comments, they're coming through now, so maybe that little hack you told me is working after all. Amanda Wilson, hello in Wales. Today will be the last day that you see me like this before I'm off to the hairdressers on Tuesday for my hair doing. I went in and had my patch test done. Anybody who's had the vaccine, the new thing is you've got to have a patch test before you have colour done again, and I've had no allergic reactions. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, so thank you, Bronwyn Harrison. Yes, if you follow my Instagram, you'll have seen the moment that I met up with Hartley and Olivia for Easter Sunday. And it was just absolutely magical. And it was magical to see all the families meeting of the rule of six, the little grandchildren running up to the grandparents they haven't seen in a long time. It was just absolutely fabulous. It really was. I was so blessed because I know there's still quite a lot of families who haven't yet met up. So I'm so privileged, beyond blessed. Woke up every day with gratitude. And good morning, Joanne in Canada. It's 7 a.m. there. Well, it's 12:05. I've been on since 12, so let's get going. Oh, God, I can talk a bloody glass eye to sleep, me. Dear Aunty Nelly, anonymous, please. It's always anonymous. Always. Hi, Nell. Hope you're well. I'm very well, thank you. I need your help. My fiance is a man, and he's spending too much time with his male friend. They go fishing a lot. Me and my fiance have now booked to go to York fishing for a long weekend. He only gone and asked his male friend to come for a night, and it's pissed me right off because it's our holiday, our time away. I've sat down at #kitchen table with him and explained this, and he just laughed about it. How can I tell him he's not coming and I want more time with him? P.S. We don't live together. Thank you, Nell. I love you. So you wanted a little weekend away, didn't you? And the thing I'm going to say here is it doesn't sound to me like you like fishing and it's your partner that does. So he's having his cake and eating it because he goes away fishing with his mate anyway. And now that you've booked a weekend away, he's going to be fishing and have his mate as well. So he's not actually prioritising you and your relationship and your emotional needs. So when you sat down at the kitchen table, did you actually explain that and say, look, we don't live together. I want a bit of one-on-one time with you. I want it to be just me and you. Don't mind you going fishing. Don't mind you seeing your mate. But when it's our weekend, I want it to be our weekend. And I don't want to share you because we don't live together. And I'm not saying you can't go fishing or have friends, but for that weekend, it needs to be just us two. And I think the fact that he's laughing, he probably doesn't take it as seriously as what you do. So make him understand that I'm not being needy, not at all. And I'm not saying that, it's all about me and it should only ever be us two, but we don't live together and I just want a little bit of time with you as my fiance, just us two for 2 nights. I don't want anybody else interrupting. So why don't you go on your fishing weekend with your friend? I won't come even though I've booked it. And why don't we book somewhere where there's no fishing involved and it can just be a lovely little getaway, romantic weekend for us two, and leave it at that. So I'm not saying that you spat your dummy out and that you're not going to go. You could go, but it's not going to be what you wanted. So you need to look at him agreeing and understanding. Now, if he's always going to have a relationship with you where he doesn't feel that intimacy, that emotional connection, that making you a priority is a thing that he can do, he thinks it's funny, then are you really with the right person? I know you're engaged to him as your fiancé, but do you really want to take that step into marriage with somebody who doesn't actually see your concerns or needs as a priority? And that's what I would be asking him. And I know it sounds a bit brutal, but is it not better off having the conversation now than later, finding out 2 weeks into your marriage that actually he doesn't really give a shit about me? So that's what I would say. I would certainly say, look, this is how it has to be. This is what I need. Can you fulfill me like that? And if you can't, then I don't think we should go any further. Okay, moving on. Dear Aunty Nelly, I really need some help. Oh, don't we all? My boyfriend of 5 years broke up with me recently and I'm absolutely devastated. It completely came out of the blue. Oh, I thought everything was going great. Obviously, I was wrong. I'm completely broken and my world feels like it's ended. We lived together for most of our relationship and now he's left. I feel so empty. I want him back. But I know this isn't going to happen. We had a great relationship and it's not ended in bad terms. He just said he doesn't feel the same way about me anymore. I feel empty, lonely and worthless. I don't know how I'm going to get over this. Please help me. I'm a broken flower pot. There is light at the end of this tunnel. There really is, let me tell you. There is. And unfortunately, when relationships break up, sometimes we get a little bit of a heads up that things aren't going well. We have a few different conversations and, let's see if we can make this work. And then sometimes it's a case of do you know what, this isn't working. But the fact that you've not had those conversations and he's just gone, look, this isn't working, I'm off, bye, and you've not had that chance to say, well, what's not working, what's fallen down, what do we need to put the work into? He's not interested in putting the effort into the relationship. Because you loved him and it's come as such a shock, you will feel that loss, you will feel empty, you will feel confused and rejected. That's part of breaking up. Breaking up with somebody is like grieving. So it's going through the grieving process, you're going through the loss, and at the moment you feel incredibly upset. He'll be your first waking moment, he'll be your last waking moment. It's all you'll think about. You won't look after yourself very well, you'll be crying a lot, eating ice cream rather than nutrients, you'll be crying, you'll be thinking, what if I did this, what if I'd have said this, you'll be looking back at all messages. You will go through a time when you first break up of almost tormenting yourself, and that's normal, that's fine. Eat the ice cream, cry it out. He's not going to come back. You've already said he's not coming back, that's it. So what do we do to move on? To move on, if you've no children involved, and even though you broke up amicably, I'd always say block that person, regardless of you being best friends or not, because if you don't block them, you'll get into a habit of looking at their social media, seeing when they were online, wondering what they're doing. Is there somebody else? Why is he online at 10 o'clock? He used to be in bed at 10 o'clock. To block that person, get them out your radar. I'm not saying they have to be blocked forever, absolutely not, but get them out of your phone now. Get them out your phone. If you've no children together and don't need to have any communication, get them out now. So once you start feeling like that, you've got them out your system in the sense of where they're no longer impinging on your daily thing, you can go through the correct sign of grieving. So you're upset at the moment. In a week's time, you might be absolutely fuming. And the reason that will come is it's part of the grieving process. And that would just be fuelled even faster if you were to see someone on social media, he's out having drinks tomorrow with his mates because you're allowed. Or, you know, he's putting happy statuses on and you're sat at home missing him. So get rid of him. You don't want to see him at all. You don't need to connect with him. You don't need to talk to him. Get rid of him and start looking at what's good in your life. So, yeah, you've lost your partner. You were living together. You were engaged. You don't know why you split up. Sometimes we've got to reevaluate and we've got to look back on the relationship. And I always say, I was once in a relationship a long time ago, and I'd say things like, oh, he made me tea for me last night, and girls at work would be like, oh, that's so lovely, Nell. I'm like, I know. When I look back, he did make me tea. He threw frozen pizza in fucking oven. Do you know what I mean? So when you're in that relationship and you've got your rose-tinted sunglasses on, you're not actually seeing it for what it is. So you'll start looking back and thinking, actually, no, you were a bit of a dickhead, really, and I'm better off without you. So I'm not saying focus on all the bad in the relationship, but actually look at it with clear vision, because sometimes we don't do that. It's not like we're making things up, but we're saying things and leaving out the bad so it looks better and so that we absorb it better, if that makes sense. So you'll start looking back on your relationship and just look at it as a learning curve. Every day is a school day. You've had a relationship with a man. It's no longer something that served him. So why should you serve your emotions towards him? Go through the grieving process. Find out who you are as a single person. Find out what you want in life. And don't jump straight into a new relationship. Be a clean canvas. Whilst you've got all this upset and this hurt and this grief, people say, oh, to get over a man, jump straight back under another man. No, I don't agree with that. Work on yourself, okay? You are worthy. You will find somebody in the future when divine timing comes along that will love you and stay with you and not leave you. So let him off. Let him go what he has to do. Delete him, block him, get rid of him and start working on your inner self and what you want. Know your worth, take back your power, because while you're feeling all these emotions and you're putting him on that pedestal, you're not in control. So take back your power, be in control of this, and I wish you the best of luck for the future. Breakups are difficult, they're hard, they're awful, they do make you feel empty and worthless, but believe me, it's so hard to do, but once you start doing it, it becomes a habit, and in honest to God, you'll look back, you'll wake up one morning and it'll just not be the first thing you think about. And it's different for everybody, but that you'll be fine, you will be fine, you'll be fine. Okay. I know you don't like War and Peace. I don't. We don't give phone numbers out on Aunty Nelly's Sunday service, so let me see if I can just block this person. I think he's been blocked now, that's good. So I am keeping an eye on the trolls and the scammers. Okay, so you don't like War and Peace, so I'll keep it brief. Thank you very much. I live abroad and I've done for many years. I'm successful with my own business and I've been very independent. Have I actually knocked the comments off by doing that? I've fucking done something now. Christ on a bike. In the last 3 years, I've been struggling with mental health, such as anxiety and depression. I'm on antidepressants and I'm trying to cope with the new normal. I recently get involved with someone that turned out to be violent, narcissistic, which affected my mental health again. And the doctor has doubled my medication. Now I've got rid of him, I'm struggling with motivation with anything, be it friends, work or anything. I'm not sure I can cope with anything at the moment. I'm just tired of fighting and worried about the future. I just feel a bit lost. I have good friends here, but I don't want to be a burden. We all have things to deal with. Any advice? Firstly, can I just say, you're never a burden. You're never, ever, ever a burden to anybody. Keep talking to your friends. You've got good friends. Let them know daily how you are. And just by you thinking you're being a burden, you telling them how you're feeling, doesn't mean that you can't ask them how they're feeling and share. You know, spend time with your friends, let them know that you're feeling down and that you've had to up your medication and you're struggling with your anxiety and you've got a bit of lack of motivation and you feel a bit let down because you thought you were doing all right and you let somebody in your life and they shit all over you. Well, isn't that good that you found out now and not 10 years down the line and lived a life of misery? I think the doctor's done right by re-looking at your medication, and I think it's fantastic that you went back to your GP and said, I'm struggling a little bit here, like I did not long ago, and you've had that reassessed. But you're never a burden, never ever a burden. If I could go up to heaven now and speak to everybody who committed suicide due to mental illness, I'm sure 99% of them would say, I didn't mean it, I just wish I'd have told you, wish I'd have said, yeah, I wish you had done as well. So you're never a burden to your true friends. And you know what? If you've no friends, come into my inbox. You know, reach out to people like the Samaritans, the Red Cross. People, there's always somebody there willing to listen to you. Always. So you're never a burden. The burden is that you didn't speak up and then we have to live with that. So I hope that makes sense to you. And yeah, you're going through a shitty time, you are, but you will cope. Because you've already been to the doctor, so you've got strength in you. You are a warrior. You're able to put your hand up and say, I'm struggling, can I have some help? And you've done that, and I think that's fucking brilliant. That's brilliant that you've gone and said, I'm struggling a bit, and the doctor said, right, let's have a look, right, we will up this. Sometimes your medication that you're on, the antidepressants, can make you feel extremely tired. They can make you feel like you're lacking motivation while they get into your system. You may be getting a few side effects. You may need to maybe reassess the milligrams you're on. So keep in touch with your doctor as well and say, you know, I'm feeling sleepier than normal, or, you know, I've no get up and going, mate. Is it the tablets? Could we maybe reassess the medication? So keep in touch with your GP and keep in touch with your friends. And when my friends ring and say, oh God, I'm having a really, really shit day today. Oh, are you sweetheart? Yeah, I'm not feeling so clever. It's not that you're ringing them and you're telling them and you're not bothered about their problems. It's called communicating, and it's called, you know, that's what friendships are. You go through the good and the bad together. You might be going through the bad both at the same time and you're supporting each other. You might be going through good times together, you support each other. That's what a friendship is. Always communicate. And if your friends, you feel that, oh God, I don't want to really communicate that to her because such and such a thing's happened to her, it's the last thing she needs. Believe me, it's not. It's not to me, certainly. I don't see that as anything other than my friend reaching out, and I'd rather my friend reach out than not And I'd rather my friend reach out and say, I'm not coping, than me 2 weeks later at your funeral and saying, I didn't know you were not coping. So please, 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 always reach out, always. You're never a burden. And if you feel you can't see your friends, there's always somebody else there who will listen. I promise you that. So I hope that gives you a little bit of motivation to know that it's okay to not be okay, and there's always going to be somebody who will listen. And don't ever think that the way you're feeling is daft or needs to be explained, or the fact that you just feel a bit ashamed for feeling a bit lost, or the fact that you think, well, such a body's husband left them and they're all right, why can't I be? So I better not tell everybody because they'll see me weak. Don't think of that either. Just be very honest about your feelings, okay? And we can't always, as friends, resolve your issues. We can't always resolve your issues. But as friends, we promise that you'll not have to fight them alone. And I think that is something that you do as a friend without knowing you're doing it. You know, you don't let your friends go through anything on their own. That's why we have friends, am I right? I think so. Dear Aunty Nelly, please do not read my name out. I will not. I really want a second child, and my partner, for some reason, is very against it. Oh, heck. We have a very active sex life, and when we got together, we were always talking about wanting another baby. But my birth was very traumatic. He was premature. However, we're both aware that no two pregnancies are the same. I just need some advice, please. I should probably mention, after having my child, I did suffer with mental health issues, but this is now resolved. Is your husband absolutely terrified that, you know, your health is at risk by getting pregnant again? Is your husband terrified that he may lose you should you go into childbirth for a second time, as the first birth was so traumatic? Is your husband just saying, I don't want to risk the life of my wife for a new life because he loves you so much and he saw you go through such torment? Is your husband worried that you may get postnatal depression again? Because when our mental health is affected, it's the people around us that notice more than us, because we don't notice how it's actually affecting us because we're the ones it's affecting. But the people around us have a different clarity. So have you had that conversation rather than saying, I think it's time for another baby? And he might be thinking, I don't fucking think so. Absolutely not. Ask him exactly what it was like. Conversate with him. Say, what was it like when I was delivering our premature baby? How did you feel? What were your fears? What were your concerns? What was it like when I was struggling with my mental health? Because I think sometimes as ladies, wanting to grow our family, wanting to be mothers, and we get that little tick tock, you know, and we feel like we've got to do this and we're rushing, or, you know, I think sometimes we forget that it takes two to tango, and your husband goes through that with you. He goes through the pregnancy, he goes through the birth, he goes through the 2 a.m. feeds and the nappy changing. Have you actually spoke to him and asked him how it made him feel? He could have a little bit of PTSD about this, but he's not been able to open up or speak up because your mental health, the baby, and what happens to you during pregnancy and birth may have been the priority, and he just thought, I'm a man, I've got to man up, it's not okay to not be okay, and I've got to look after my family. And he may be going into male mode where he wants to protect his family, and he thinks another baby may lose control of what he's got at the minute, which sounds to me like you've come through the other side. So have you had that conversation? Is your husband somebody who would communicate that with you easily? Or does he brush things off and it's just a case of, no, I don't think it's right to do that. Well, why is it not right to do that? And then if you do speak to him and he says, do you know what? I was absolutely terrified. I thought I was going to lose you. I can't believe that we had that premature baby. I thought the baby was going to die. I thought I was going to lose our child. I thought I was going to lose you. And then, you know, it really messed with your head when you'd give birth, and it was hard, and I don't know if I've got it in me to do that again. So once again, it's about being open with your partner, and sometimes when we communicate, we don't always get the answers that we want. It's not always roses and white picket fences, but we need to know these things, because you might be sat there thinking, well, why doesn't he want another child? Why doesn't he want another child? Well, that might be why, but unless you ask him and he's completely honest and open with you, you'll never know, and then you're going to feel rejected, abandoned, you know, and if you struggle with mental health issues before, you know, there's every chance that you could again. So it's about communicating that, and if then you decide that maybe you'd like to grow your family, it's about speaking to your midwives, your health visitors, your doctors, and just trying to see what help is out there should these things occur again. Okay? Okay. Okie dokie, enjoying Sunday service. Give me a like, give me a love, give me a share. Oh, that went right up my nose. Oh, dear Aunty Nelly, I'm looking for some advice. I've been with my boyfriend for 5 months, and I was recently messaged by a girl saying, your boyfriend has asked me for a sexy video. I asked my boyfriend and he admitted it. He said, yes, I did. And I know that she would tell you. I always go on self-destruct when I'm too comfortable in a relationship. So I do things to sabotage it. I'm so confused and don't know what to do. I really love him and want to be with him. Thanks, one of you flower pots. Right, so how old are you? It sounds to me like it's quite an immature relationship. I do understand about self-sabotaging relationships because I can do that. Is he looking for a way out because he hasn't got the backbone to actually end your relationship? That would be my first question, because I would give him the opportunity to end the relationship and say, look, you didn't have to ask a girl for a sexy video. You didn't have to let her tell me about that. You know, I do love you. I did want a relationship with you. Did you want our relationship to end? Because now's your chance. Number 2, I don't know whether you wanted the relationship to end or not, but I'll let you know this. How about we end the relationship anywhere, because we've only been together 6 months and I don't think I should be in a relationship with somebody who's looking for sexy videos from someone else. Right, hang on. Bear with me 1 second. There we go. So there's another troll block there. So I've got a little key on my thing now that if I press it, it'll just block trolls if I see them. Don't always see them. So do you want to be in a relationship with somebody who isn't confident enough to have a relationship because they're not willing to take that next step in a commitment? And because they're not willing to take that next step in a commitment, they look for ways out. Do they get to 6 months in every relationship and then self-sabotage it? Don't fall in love with people like that. They're not ready to fall in love. They're not ready to have your emotions spent on them. You need to be with a partner who asks you for sexy videos rather than anybody else. So there's no trust in this relationship, because do you want to be in a relationship with somebody who may ask somebody else next month for a sexy video? Do you want to be with somebody who is looking for ways out of the relationship without having the backbone to actually say, I'm not happy in this relationship? Sounds to me like it's an immature relationship. No wonder you're confused. I would be saying, it's been really nice knowing you. You know, you could have just told me that you didn't want to be in a relationship. Off your foot, flower. And move on to the next when you feel ready. Okay, let him self-destruct his relationships from here on in without you having to play a part of it. Okay, moving on. Hi Aunty Nelly, I'm wondering if you'd be able to help me. I lost my dad in 2015 suddenly to a heart attack. Then I fell pregnant. And with my son. My mum came to live with us and had a stroke shortly after. She died in October 2020. I still struggle to cope. I'm on 30 milligrams of citalopram daily and I've been referred to bereavement counselling. But I just wondered if you had any words of wisdom, any advice or guidance who to turn to help with this. I feel like I'm coping, but I definitely suffer. I need that push to the next stage. You don't need to be pushed anywhere. Listen to your Aunty Nelly. You've been through quite some trauma. Your dad died suddenly of a heart attack. Your mum died in your arms. You've had 2 massive losses. And no matter how old we are, when we lose our parents, we become orphans. It's a massive, massive change of life events. And they're not always the best, are they? Because death is part of life, but we never want it to happen to us. And you've got this little baby now that, you know, your son is carrying on your bloodline, and that's where you should be finding your joy. I think it's absolutely wonderful that you've asked for help and you're on antidepressants. I also think it's absolutely wonderful that you've been referred to some bereavement counselling. If your bereavement counselling appointments haven't come through just yet, there are plenty of things you can do online. You can join support groups, you can speak to other people who are going through loss, you can speak to other people who've had loss like you. And don't forget that loss affects every one of us in different ways. Just because next door neighbour lost her mum and she doesn't need antidepressants doesn't mean to say that she's stronger than you. People deal with things in different ways. I think it's fantastic that you've put your hand up and said, can I have a little bit of help? And the doctor said yeah. And I think it'll be fantastic for you to get a little bit of bereavement counselling. I think it's also fantastic that you've got a little boy that you can spend your time with and find happiness in. And keep the memory of your parents alive. Keep the photos around the house. Look through the photo albums. Talk about them. Make one of the favourite dishes. You know, celebrate their anniversaries. As we get older, we do lose more people in our life. That's the joy of getting older. As age is a privilege denied to many. And the older we get, we see people around us, you know, passing on. And it's so difficult, and sometimes I wish I'd never loved anybody in my life. I wish that I were a psychopath, I guess, and had no emotions, because when you lose somebody, it's tough and it's hard, and you never, ever, ever recover from that loss. You just learn to live with it. It's a pain that doesn't go away. It just dulls into your everyday. It becomes a habit. And it's about knowing that you're not the only one. It happens every minute of every day. We lose somebody. And it's tough. It is tough. My dad's been past 9 years now. And I miss him every single day. But I talk to him and I tell him about things. And I'm privileged I can go and visit him at the graveside. I have photos of him in the house. I cook his favourite meals. I play his favourite music. It's 9 years on, and some people might say, well, you're still doing that. Well, yeah, because grief doesn't know a time. Grief doesn't know a time, and I always say, how privileged are you to grieve? Because to grieve, it means you've loved, and grieving means it's love that has nowhere to go. So when you're grieving, it's because you've loved, and aren't we so lucky to love? Even though I've been through the emotions of, I wish I'd never loved anybody, I wish I'd never liked anybody in my life, and then I'd never feel this. Because it's an awful feeling, it really is. And sometimes I sit there 9 years on and think, will I never see my dad again? No, that can't be right. What, never? I'll never see my dad again. And it's 9 years on. So don't dismiss the grief. Keep asking for help. Go for your bereavement counselling. Keep speaking to people. There's lots of support groups on Facebook. And if you have your good days, your bad days, keep speaking to your parents. They will be there somewhere in spirit. I'm a very spiritual person. Look out for the signs. You know, keep the memory alive, and just think yourself lucky that you had a mum and dad that loved you so much and you loved them so much that you're feeling that loss. Not everybody's as lucky to us to have loved and lost, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's what I always say. To love so much does heighten the grief, doesn't it? Because that's, you know, that's your grieving. You still love that person, but that love can't go anywhere, can it? So yeah, you're doing the right things, and I'm ever so sorry for your losses. And I do send you my condolences, but honest to God, just soak up every little bit of happiness with your little boy. Every little happiness with your little boy. And there is, when you said there, I need to push on to the next stage, there is no next stage. No next stage at all. It's everybody's stages of grief are different. And it's okay to laugh. Can I just say it's okay to laugh if you've lost somebody? It doesn't mean to say that you don't care or you didn't love. Just go with whatever you need to go through. You do you, because everybody's grief is different. Hi, Aunty Nelly. I have a problem, please can you help? I'm 34 and I'm very broody and my clock is ticking. We've just had something like this. I've been with my partner 3 years, and at the beginning of our relationship we discussed having children. He was convinced he would like a child, but I was adamant and said no way. However, I've changed my mind and I would really like a baby, but now my partner doesn't. I've tried to drop little hints, but every time I mention a baby, he just literally ignores me. I feel silly, but he really is 1 in a million and I want a baby with him. Do I just shut up and hope my breediness goes away, or sitting down and risk my relationship ending? Right, when it comes to a subject like growing our family, having a child with somebody, I won't be dropping little fucking hints. That's where you're going wrong in the first place. I'd be sitting him down at the kitchen table and saying, we're going to have a very serious conversation. You can't drop hints about having a baby. Absolutely not. This will change the rest of your lives forever. So it's not something you can just drop hints on. It's not like you've seen a dress in local shop and you drop it. Oh, I saw a dress today. I didn't have time to get it. So nice. It's not a fucking dress or a pair of earrings. It's a baby. So don't be dropping hints. And if you really, really, really want to grow your family and you want a baby and he really doesn't, then you need to evaluate your relationship. Why does he not want a baby? Do you really want a baby? And if you do, you need to meet somebody that does. But I won't be dropping hints about things like having a baby, because that is serious shit. You can't. Drop hints about an handbag, a dress, a pair of earrings, or maybe a restaurant you'd like to go on, or a cheeky weekend away, but not about a baby. Absolutely not. That's not something that you can just drop hints about. That's a major, major discussion. It's a massive conversation between a couple that looking to maybe start a family. I mean, obviously you're not going to have the conversation. I hope you're not going to have the conversation as we can't afford a baby, because if that were the case, nobody would have any babies. But certainly don't drop hints. No, tell him how much he means to you, how important he is to you. You love him, you want to be with him forever, and you'd love to have a part of him. If he says, whoa, flower, that's not for me, then he's not the one for you. But don't be dropping hints. Hi, I've got a problem. I work part-time as a student nurse and I have 1 day off a week. Okay. Where are we going with this now? Where am I going? Me and my partner try and get the same day off so we can spend the time with the kids. Even if it's just cleaning and watching TV. My problem is my mother-in-law. She knows it's our day off together, so she turns up at 9 in the morning and leaves at 7 at night. I have a go at my other half because he's obviously telling her what day off we have, and she stays all these hours when I want to clean, spend time with my husband and kids. But the worst of it is she brings drink with her and she starts drinking the minute she comes to my house at 9 in the morning. Tonight, it took me and my partner to get her in the car so I could drive her home. Ages. Another thing, kids are teenagers, so they got online learning to do and they get really pissed off that she's here drunk. I love her, but it's getting really annoying now. Any suggestions without making her feel like she's not welcome to our house? Well, okay, so your husband's telling his mother what days your day off are, so she thinks, oh, well, I'm going to spend time with my family. She's not spending time with the family though, is she? Because she's coming camping with a bottle of vodka and getting herself pissed at your house. She can do that at home. Why don't you say to her, look, I'm really worried about you drinking. We only see it once a week, but are you doing this every single day? Bear with me 1 second. There we go. Are you doing this every single day? Because we're really concerned about you drinking. We don't mind you having a drink. Everybody knows, everybody can have a drink if they want. But at 9 in the morning, Janice, she's probably not called Janice, but 9 in the morning, Janice, what the heck's going on? We're really concerned about you. So rather than telling her she's not welcome in the house, I'd be having an intervention about her drinking firstly. And then say to her, you're welcome to come, but we don't want you drinking. And believe me, if she has got a drink problem, she's not going to be darkening your doorstep again. I mean, what kind of grandma is that? The grandma should be saying things like, I'll take the kids out for a few hours and then you two have got a bit of time to yourself, or I'll help you come round and clean up, or why don't you come to me on your day off and I'll cook us all a family dinner. So number one here, my priority would be intervention. Listen, husbands, and don't be having a go at your husband because he's thinking, well, it's my mother and she's on her own, she wants to come round. Say to your husband, look, I'm not going to have a go, but I think we definitely need to speak to your mother because I'm really worried. For somebody that drinks at 9 o'clock in the morning and all day long and then it takes me ages to get her in the car and get her home because she's pissed, there's a problem and we only see a fraction of it, so what's going on? So So, you know, have a word with her and tell her that you don't mind her coming round if she lives on her own, she's lonely, she's got nothing to do. But she should be spending that time with her grandchildren. She should want to spend her family, saying, if it's your day off on Tuesday, why don't you come to mine? I'll make your dinners for you and we'll spend an afternoon together. So please, 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 here, rather than the problem of you don't want your mother-in-law around because you want to spend time with your kids and husband, I see that's a problem and a need, but it is your husband's mother, so the problem here is what's actually going on in her life and how can we get her the immediate help that, to me, feels that she needs. Yeah? Okay. Moving on. Oh. I'll get straight to it. Okay, I like it when you do. What would you do with a spoilt stepchild with no manners, Nelly? She's 9 and she can be lovely and I treat her as my own when she is here every other weekend, but she rules everything. Feels awful saying this, but don't want to name names, but her mum gives her everything she wants and constantly buy stuff, anything, crap, shite, rubbish. As long as it can be bought, she can have it. Sorry, but that's not my idea of parenting. I've been a single parent for 15 years now, and mine always believed saying no to comics. Oh dear God, what's going on here? Don't get me wrong, Mary Poppins I am not, but I've done my best. Back to the point. Oh, here we go. How do I get my stamp child, I think she means stepchild, to be polite with eating a knife and a fork and basically not being a brat without being the wicked stepmother? Just realised this doesn't make much sense. Hopefully you know what to say. Love what you do, you're fab. So we've got a stepchild that's visiting every other weekend, 9-year-old, and it's a bit of a spoilt brat, lives with mum, and mum thinks that by throwing money at child, that's parenting. We all know it's not parenting, but sometimes we might buy that magazine just to shut the little bastard up because they can be little brats, can't they? But, okay. You have no right to parent your stepchild. However, you have got every right to impose rules in your home when she comes as a visitor or a guest. I don't want you to treat her like a visitor and a guest because that's her extended family. You're now partnering your children, so she needs to feel belonging. Are you treating her like a visitor and a guest and that's why she's playing up? Does she feel she's pushed out because she doesn't see dad as much and he's so good with your children and she feels that if she plays up, that's how she's going to get attention? Surely to God she knows how to eat with a knife and fork because if she didn't, she wouldn't be getting fed. So it's about not being the evil stepmother, but it's about having your husband, your partner, on the same page as you and imposing those rules while she's in your home. Because there could be things that Olivia was allowed to do at my house that she wasn't allowed to do at Dad's, and then things she was allowed to do at Dad's house that she wasn't allowed to do at Mum's house. And sometimes they can play you on that. So it's about being on the same page, number one. So speak to your husband and say, listen, when anonymous flower pot comes every other weekend, you know, I'm just getting a bit sick of this because she's allowed to do certain things or she's trying certain things that my children are not allowed to do, so they've all got to do the same thing. How do we express that? You know, so by sitting at the table and eating your meal with a knife and fork. If you're not willing to do that, then you don't eat. You know, and just showing her about you respecting her, therefore she must respect you. So I don't know what kind of life she's got with her mum, but at the end of the day, when she comes to your home, she needs to respect what you do in your home as rules. He needs to sort out the parenting with his ex. You can't get involved in that. It's not your right to parent a child that you haven't given birth to, unless they live in your care 24/7. So it's about compromising, okay? And she might be coming as a spoilt brat, and she might be coming thinking of you as a evil stepmother, and, well, my mummy says I can do that. Well, your mummy's not here, is she, sweetheart? You're with me at the minute, and this is what we do here. And doing it in a fashion and in a way that she understands, okay? But obviously not making you be the wicked stepmother. Your husband as her parent, should be imposing these rules. And if he's not, he needs a bit of a kick up the arse to do that. Because he might think, well, I only see her every other weekend, so I'll let her get away with it. No, that's not parenting. That's not being a responsible parent. So she needs to understand the rules. You need to impose the rules. You both need to be on the same page. And if you feel that there's something going on with mum, then that's up to him to sort and not you. So I know it's a little bit frustrating, and I think you've got a little bit of a few months ahead of you. And she may even decide that she doesn't want to come, and that's also fine, because she may spit her dummy out. But yeah, you've just got to bite your tongue for the moment and let your husband, be the one in charge of this, and you take a step back. And if she's playing up, she's getting shouted at, or she's shouting, whatever, take your children away from that and leave your husband to parent his child. I know it's going to be difficult, but that's what you're going to have to do for the time being until she gets used to what's allowed and what's not within your home. Okay? That's been today's Sunday service, and I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as I have, because I've really enjoyed it. If you've got any nighttime Nellies or any Sunday services, please keep writing into the page. Please, 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 please do. And please give me a like, a love and a share. And I will see you all very, very soon. So yeah, let me know still where you're watching me from. Let me know what you're doing with your day, as I will sit down now, read the comments, have a 10-minute break, and then I'll be jumping onto Instagram, Aunty Nelly Uncensored, and where I will invite in all my gorgeous flower pots on, and they will be able to ask me absolutely anything. So if I don't see you there, I'll see you soon. Take care. I love each and every one of you. You are worthy. You matter. You're important. Never forget that. Take care.